Now, motherhood is a lot more difficult today than it ever has been. So I stole these ideas and thoughts. For those that don't know me, my wife and I had 7 children. From the time that our first was born to the time that we launched our last one at 22 years old, we have been parents with kids at home for 35 years, raising daughters and sons. And now we've had grandchildren living in our home, sometimes as long as 6 months. So I'm going to give you, as I go through why it's harder to be a mom today, I also am going to just throw out some wisdom. You can throw it out when you leave the church. It won't bother me, but we've had a lot of experience dealing with kids, okay? Do you know that studies show that mothers spend more time with kids today than the mothers who raised baby boomers? So most moms today are working full-time jobs or part-time jobs, where most moms, 80% of moms that raised my generation, were full-time moms at home. But believe it or not, mothers today spend more time with their kids than the mothers who raised my generation, okay? And praise the Lord, by the way, my mom and my parents got divorced, but my mom and my stepdad and my father and my stepmother, they come to church at the 8 o'clock service. It's a privilege. And my stepdad's going to be 99, and they're all close, they're up there. So when I was being raised, you went to school, and when you got home, what did moms do? For those that are older, what did moms do? Go outside. Yeah, I'm not dealing with you. Go play. And so we would all go outside. All the kids, they say now the neighborhoods are empty. They're called childless neighborhoods. It's not that people don't have kids. It's that literally everyone's afraid to send their kids outside. They're worried that neighbor down the road is strange looking. There's drugs, they're scary. So we no longer send our kids outside. But we had to go outside, and that's where we learned to play. And our mothers didn't tell us what to play. We had to get together. What are we doing today? We're doing baseball, hide and go seek, riding our bikes. What are we? Every mom was a mother that watched you. You couldn't get away with anything. Then you came home for dinner. Then you did your homework, watched an hour of TV, and went to bed. And moms hardly did anything. Today, they call it that moms today are working 2 shifts of full-time jobs. They go to their full-time work, and then, because they see that the kids are on the internet, on the phone, their iPads, and the moms know that that's not good for their kids, so now moms do a full-time entertainment director for their kids. And they're taking them to all kinds of activities because they know they shouldn't be at home. So now let's get in all kinds of sports and piano lessons, gymnastics, and to the zoo, museum, and I'll take you to the friend's birthday party. And it's crazy now the amount of time that moms are spending with kids. They're working 2 shifts. And it's very draining on most mothers to have 2 full-time jobs and to fit everything in. There's more emotional issues with kids, and we know it's probably connected to either what they're eating or from social media. The people that do tech, they don't let their kids have phones until they're like 32. But kids definitely are having more emotional issues, anxiety, depression, stress from media. And by the way, it's true with moms as well, because now moms are on Facebook and they're seeing what super moms, what happens is this mom says, oh, I took my kids and we did this activity. And another mom says, hey, I cooked this great meal for my kids. And the moms are reading this and they're getting down and depressed. And oh no, I'm a terrible mom because I didn't take my kids to 3 activities. Mom comes home, we take the kid 1 hour here. And so when my wife and I had the kids, all of our kids, we told our kids, look, you get 1 activity per, for winter, spring, you get 1 thing. You want basketball? Okay, that's it. You don't get gymnastics, you don't get whatever else. And same thing in the fall. But now moms, that's why it's called the car culture. You take your kids, okay, 1 hour here, drive them, now we're going to gymnastics now we're heading to this activity and it's like crazy. And they're saying for whatever reason, when moms are driving cars everywhere, it's even worse on them with traffic and everything else. So then what that does is it undermines marriages. So I can't tell you how many marriages are falling apart. And that's because mom is totally worn out. She's like, I just finished a 16-hour shift at my job and with my kids. And the husband, is there any time for me? No, there isn't. I'm going to bed. I'm done. And now marriages are falling apart like incredible more because my wife and I always were very good at spending at least 1 hour a day. We had a cemetery across the street from our house when we were raising our kids, so we would go walking that 1 hour. The kids would ride their bikes and roller skate, but they left us alone. They knew, don't bother us. And if you fall, too bad. we just didn't, you can't baby that many kids. So in the wintertime, we played ping pong for years. That's why to this day, we have a ping pong table, and that's why no man can beat my wife at ping pong. I love it. I'm like, you don't get to me until you get to her. You've heard this before. But today, husbands and wives, you don't spend any time together. You're totally worn out. You're not talking. And the marriages are crumbling and breaking and falling apart, which then winds up, then you're single parents trying to raise kids and it's like, what a nightmare you are creating. Moms don't have enough time for their own spiritual, emotional well-being. Praise the Lord for church. I don't know what moms do that don't even have church or a Bible study or some way to get with the women. Women are taught to fight against aging. I know this probably has nothing to do with moms, but I notice there's this whole movement that they're telling women that you always have to perpetually be young, whatever that takes, whatever makeup, whatever plastic surgery, whatever it does so here's Proverbs 31. I was thinking about this aging movement that every woman has to be young all the time. Because if you're a good mom, a good wife, a good worker, you can't be a powerful woman of work unless you keep your youth. So I thought of Proverbs 31, verse 30. The godly woman knows charm is deceptive, beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. That hopefully you realize, women of the Lord, that it is the fear of the Lord that actually gives you true beauty. It's what Sarah, who was beautiful at 90 years old, her beauty came from the fear of the Lord. And so women, this is just my advice. I turned 66 last week. This is what my wife and I have kind of adopted as our philosophy. When we were in our 20s, we lived as 20-year-olds, and we enjoyed life in our 20s. And then we became 30. And we lived our life as 30-year-olds fully in that decade of our life. And then we became 40. We didn't decide to live like 20-year-olds. It's like God anointed and blessed. This reminds me of this whole gender thing, accepting who you are, that God's created you. And it reminds me of accepting who you are age-wise. Then we were in our 50s. We didn't try to pretend we were in our 20s to try to look like we were in our 30s. We fully, and it's amazing, each decade of life, God has incredible blessings. And when you're always trying to live 20 years younger or something, you miss out on what God has for you. And now we're in our 60s. And we're fully embracing what it means to be in our 60s. And we're not trying to live like 40s. We're not trying to live like 80s. And so women, please, don't let the media come and try to constantly tell you you're living in this rat race's mouse wheel of being younger, trying to look younger to stay, I don't know. Stress, a lot of moms, there's stress of handling discipline at home, finances of the house, the schooling of your kids. And so most moms feel stressed most of the time.